Shalom, good evening, good morning to Rose, my co-host. Good to see you. It's been a whole week, but it's been a good week. Welcome, Rose, from Australia, Melbourne, Australia. My name is Dr. Tova Goldfein. This is TMS Roundtable Global, and it is Monday night or Tuesday morning. And Rose will introduce our guest.
Good morning, world. Welcome, Dr. Zohar Yagil. Now, Dr. Yagil has got an interesting take on medicine. He became, I suppose you would say, curious, and he delved into Eastern medicine. Now, I'll let Dr. Yagil explain it all to you rather than spoil it. Now, if you think about what he's explaining to us, you'll also recognize the fact that it's sort of, we're familiar with reflexology. Well, this is the next step. So welcome, and please give us a little bit of a background of how a medical doctor moved into Eastern medicine and the development of it, and now the worldwide, what would you call it, development of this type of therapy. So welcome, Dr. Yagil.
Thank you. It's a privilege to be here. I'm very happy to be again near the round table. So basically, I am a scientist, a medical scientist, and along with my way through the corridors of science, I was looking to find the most accurate way to measure and to try to to find a way to make things repeat themselves in the human body and on cell cultures. And during that process, I started to look also on the complementary medicine field. That field is less measurable, and I learned a lot of different methodologies, okay? And then I went through reflexology to shiatsu and Chinese medicine, of course, also all sorts of massages. On the medical field, I was doing molecular biology, which is very accurate. And actually, my first article that I published, I was trying to repeat results of very famous researcher from Germany. And we were doing a live cell culture of neurons. It was very sensitive and very complicated. And actually, my first article was about how things vary between cell cultures and between different reagents. And actually, I found that the most accurate, supposed to be the most accurate way to measure and to repeat and to to do follow-up is not accurate at all. So I was doing that, which was amazing, interesting, and I wrote a few patents also for cancer medicine, and we tried to develop a lot of interesting things that can help people.
You're saying, I'm going to interrupt you, but you're saying that it was hard to have things repeated. It was hard to get things repeated and be exactly the same. Is that right?
Yes, too many variables.
Variables.
Yeah. We try to control, but so many things vary between cultures and between tissues. And we know that as human beings, we know that we are all different. But when we're in the lab and we try to to make everything more reduced, so we try to make the reality reduced in order that we can cut it to pieces and make it very accurate. But we have to put things on the table, and actually things are not accurate, and there are a lot of assumptions. And we know that when we go from the cell culture to the to the animal, to the lab animal, and then to the human being, everything changes, and of course that each of us has his own life, his own interaction with life, his own genetics, of course, but also his own emotion and emotional interpretation of his reality. So let's say so many variables.
And this is something you didn't know in medical school, but as you began to explore, this world opened up to you, which thank God you were
Yes,
open to it. Because I
yes.
think all doctors are open to it and they know it and they see it and it's hard and they think, well, I'll go the narrow road, I'll go the straight road. I won't ask questions, no peripheral vision. And you were brave.
I was curious
Curious.
because what I saw things that they define the physiology that I know. Okay, I saw that some kind of stimulation that we do, and I will demonstrate, can reduce blood sugar levels in 20 minutes. And I don't do anything that is penetrative. I don't administer any drug, and it is much quicker than insulin that some some patients with diabetes can take. And and these results stunned me. I thought, first of all, I thought it was a mistake, so I repeated it. And then after I saw it in different patients, in different times, in different circumstances, I was shocked. And then I said, okay, I need to learn this and I need to make it proper, and I need to spread it. That's why I'm not doing research in lab anymore. I think I do research with humans, but each and every one of us is his own experiment. So each and every one of our patients is his own experiment of
Yeah,
how to become better.
that's it.
And everything is measurable, repeatable,
With
and
that person.
public.
With one
Yes,
person. Yes. Yeah.
yes. These
Yeah.
these are the criteria for science, by the way, to be measurable,
Mhm.
repeatable, and public. Galileo Galilei led that foundation
Movement.
for the
Yeah.
science.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Um, can you give our viewers a bit of a background of how you actually went to this area? Because, as you said, you actually started off by realizing that in the lab it wasn't always the same, and the different cell cultures turned out different. So, can you go back to how you explained how by going to, first of all, India and then Korea, that it opened up your understanding a little bit more? Because some of our guests will have very strong opinions about medical science and they're dependent on medical science, whereas you've expanded medical science to create an east-west sort of understanding. So can you just explain to them again how you ended up going to India to find out more, so that they will be sort of have an understanding that there's an expansion of our understanding of our own bodies.
Yes, of course. So first of all, we're living in an international era in which, yes, you are in Australia now. It is 5 o'clock or something like that
Yep, 5
in
a.m.
the morning.
Yes.
I am in
Amazing.
Israel, and Dr. Tova also in Israel. Now it's 10 o'clock evening time, and we share our knowledge and information, and we can do it
Mm-hmm.
24/7. So it is really good time to connect every knowledge that anyone has about life, about reality, about health. So what happened is that um, a Korean professor named Professor Park Jae-woo 30 years ago established this method that is called Sujok Therapy. And in this method, he collected a lot of information from the ancient cultures of the Far East and combined them with modern logic and understanding and our medical approach actually is very, let's say, it has its own way of thinking and logic, but there are also different kinds of logics, and
Mm-hmm.
we can really use them. And it's if we think for a moment, it's just like glasses that can paint reality in some certain colors. So we can look at reality by the Chinese philosophy, we can look at reality by Korean philosophy. I can think like a philosopher, I can think like a scientist, I can be medical. But on the bottom line, we like to say it in Hebrew, on the bottom line, okay, things has to have results. Things have to give us what we like. For example, if we need to help someone that is suffering from a back pain, we need this bottom line. We need to relieve him from the pain. So, what I'm doing these days, we are just measuring the bottom line. Okay, we don't really know exactly what was the pathway. Okay, I know what is the starting point of the patient. I know what both of us want to be the ending point. Okay, and usually we get there, but I don't know what is going to be the way, and I'm trying not to be fixed on a certain way. Okay, so
Wow.
in
Yeah.
in in some kind of understanding, it's very similar to quantum physics, very similar. And just to remind you all that 100 years ago, everybody thought that the only laws of physics that exist in nature are Newton's three laws, okay, of
Yes, yes,
mechanics.
yes.
But but since then, everything has changed in so many different levels, and I think it's the same about medicine and the same about our understanding of how to utilize the body in order to treat itself. So I gave an answer, but I didn't answer your question.
Keep going.
But I started my way. I served in the Israeli army in the special forces in some kind of anti-terrorist unit. And when I finished with that, I went to the Far East, and I wanted to learn to study how to help people. Okay, how to fix, not how to break, how to fix, how to bring things together. And I studied many types of different modalities of healing and Reiki, and I started to practice it. I went to many different temples and tried to understand what people are doing in the world, and what do they feel about it. And I was treating people, and they gave very good feedback. I was curious, but as I told you, I am a scientist by nature, okay,
Uh-huh.
which means,
Were you a bit cynical as well at
of course,
first? Yes.
I need everything to be measurable, repeatable, and I cannot um, use only belief. Okay, I need facts.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't actually believe people that told me that they are feeling better. I believed them, but I didn't think it is related directly to what I am doing. I thought it's because of what I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which is a lot of articles, and there is a lot of research about this. But when I came back to Israel, I tried to treat some cancer patient, and I was sure we are going to win that. I didn't know anything about life and death back then. So when she passed away, I took it very uh, hard.
Mm.
Okay, I said, okay, all of this alternative medicine is nonsense, and I have to go to medical school to learn how to do things in the proper way. But when I started medical school and I tried to find out what is the most accurate way to know what is happening in the body, I understood that the most accurate is not accurate at all. Okay, just misleading. It's confusing. It's take me to another place. So I went back to study again. And what we call today, people are calling it complementary medicine or alternative medicine, all kind of traditional medicine. It worked very well. Actually, it was very interesting. Eventually, after 10 years, I think, of studying all kind, I found the Sujok Therapy, which was the most, uh, let's say, weird stuff. And for 3 years, I didn't believe anybody that I was treating. I was sure it's the placebo effect until I treated a dog. And then I got, I understood that maybe my logic is wrong. And I
Ah,
am, yes, I understood that I have to be reprogrammed in
right.
order to understand what's going on.
Mm.
And I did so, I think.
Wow.
Zohar,
Wow.
please tell our audience about the dog. It's just an amazing story, really amazing, and how it worked, and how it changed your mind, and made you more confident about this alternate.
Okay, so
Yes.
so my wife is a vet, and she had a beautiful dog called Joya. And
Oh,
Joya was amazing. My wife studied in Italy, so Joya means happiness. And she was actually quite cheerful dog. Um, Maybe not the sharpest pencil, but she was very really really sweet. She had a very short-term memory problem. But anyway, she had urinary incontinence. We found it. We discovered it when we found that the sofa is wet, and she was sitting somewhere else, and doing with her tail like this, wiggling the tail. How do you call it in
wiggling,
English?
wiggling.
Yes, and
Yeah.
but the sofa was wet, so, and it was quite warm. And then I understood, so I asked my wife, and she said yes, after doing sterilization process sometimes it happens, and now we need to give medication. And I said okay, stop everything. We have animal research volunteer. And finally I got what I wanted. If Sujok works, okay, it has to work on a dog that didn't come to pay, and
Ah,
he's not going through some kind of spiritual awakening. Okay, she was just, she didn't know what I want from her. Okay, she didn't know. She thought I was very angry because I was hurting her. And I said, Joya, don't move. Lie down, don't move. And she was paralyzed. Okay,
yeah.
and then I was looking for the area that corresponds to the urinary bladder.
On
That's
her paw, on her paw.
Yes, on her paw. This is what we are doing in Sujok. We have correspondence points to each and everything in our body. Is everything is well ordered and established, both on the hands and on the brain. There are also
In the
different
eyeball, in the
correspondence, yes, in the
eyeball,
eye, in the ears, on the nose, even on the shoulder. We have so many reflection areas, but the
wow.
hand and the feet has have the most resemblance to the full body, the most resemblance. That's why we use them mostly in Sujok. So regarding Joya, I was looking for her urinary bladder, which is here. These are two legs, okay, and this is urinary bladder. So actually, in Sujok, the patient's body, he tells us where he needs the treatment. I have maps. I can have, maybe there are 300 maps, but eventually the point that needs to be stimulated in order to create healing process, the patient's body will tell us.
It will
This
be
point,
tender.
for
It will
example,
be tender. It will
it is
hurt.
tender and this is sensitive and it is sometimes very annoying, because we use some probe that is, you see, it is on the
It's
on the
blunt, though,
tip,
isn't it?
is rounded.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So if I use something that has a sharp edge, I cannot use it because then it will hurt anyway. But when the tip is rounded and I'm looking for some tender point, so I can find some point that will be really like needle. And so thought Joya, because when I found it, I found that this is just backwards. It is good practice for the brain.
Afuk.
Yes. So I was looking for, and then when I found the point, she was taking
Pulled
her
away.
hand, she was reflex, trying to run away, and said, Joya, don't move. And then I took one needle. In Sujok, we can use a lot of different ways to stimulate curative points. Okay? We can use massage. We can use colors. I can demonstrate. We can use also seeds of plants. For example, this is black pepper seed. But we can use magnets, so many things. But the most accurate way is using needles. Okay, just like acupuncture. So I took one needle. Our needle are very fine, very small, very petite.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Trying to show you the tip,
Yeah.
but it's 0.17 millimeters. 0.16 millimeters, so it's small.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Tiny.
I was looking for the tender point. I put one needle, and then I told her, don't move, Joya. She wasn't feeling in therapy, okay? She wasn't in a spa. But since 10 minutes after she stopped the urination, or
Wait, how long
the
did you leave the needle in? I'm just curious. You put the needle
10
in?
minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes in the. Yeah.
Then I took it off. And then it stopped for 3 months. 3 months she didn't wet the sofa.
Wow.
Okay, but I want to tell you that during that 3 months, of course, one day after I say, wow. Second day I say, wow. Third day I say, wow. And then my brain did like click and said, it's nonsense. It cannot be. This is not possible. It is a coincidence. And I completely forgot about it. And what happened 3 months after is that suddenly I saw the sofa again wet. And then I said, what happened? How can I be so dumb? How did I do that? How did I forget? What kind of mechanism make my brain do like that? And then I was very happy because I'm scientist, so I have to, each
Replicate.
experience needs to be repeated at least 3 times in order to start to establish some kind of conclusion. So I was very happy that I have the opportunity to do the second repeat. So again, I put her and I told her, Joya, don't move. And again, I found the point. And again, it was hurting her. And I put a needle and I told her, don't move. 10 minutes, took it off. This time it kept for 3 years.
Wow.
Okay, 3 whole years. But I didn't wait this time in order to have some kind of conclusion. I just suddenly understood that something with my knowledge and understanding is not proper. Okay, is, let's say, I am not adapted to what is going on around. Okay, something is wrong with my logic. And then I went to Professor Park, which established the Su-Jok, and I asked him, please teach me and
Wait,
let's do research
the name of
together.
his book? What was the name of his book?
Professor Park?
Remember the book?
Oh, so many, but the one that you like, I think the most, it's Be Your Own Doctor.
Be Your Own Doctor.
Yes, one of his first books was Be Your Own Doctor. The other one was Sujok for Everybody. Because what Professor Park established, he never claimed some ownership about it. He said it exists. I only explain, but it exists in your body since your creation.
Yeah.
Okay, and he said it is a proof that God exists and that God loves you because he gave you this remote, and with few, you see, I have few copies, and also
Not just
also my
one
feet.
copy.
If it
Yeah,
doesn't work
many.
there, go to the toe. Go to the big toe. Wow, that's I never thought
Yes.
about that.
So yes, and another book says, I think we have the picture of it. It's called Thumb is Head. Just to remember, thumb is head. Okay, always head up all the time. So, and he wrote about 300 books. 300 books. It's a lot. He was a genius, and he actually he created some kind of pathway that connects everything together, from modern physics, quantum physics to biochemistry, and then combined with energetic flow and the human body and the order in family and in society. And everything is ordered in this world, and this is also part of the philosophy of Sujok. But we start usually by teaching people how to treat themselves. Okay, because after they see, then some kind of a door is opening, because we some people that are not familiar with this method thinks it's like a magic or some kind of miracle, but I can assure you it is physiology. Okay, just physiology that we are not aware of. But
Exactly. Yeah. That we're
yes,
unaware.
also
Yeah.
Sujok therapists that are
Mm.
doing this in their clinics, they know it is physiology. The only question is coming when it doesn't work. Then we start to think, okay, what are we missing here? Where is the hidden, what did I miss? Okay, because it has to work, and usually it works pretty well and pretty quick. And people, even here, if someone have any question or suffer from some kind of problem or pain, I can show you how to treat yourself, and you can try it instantly, because in this method, we look for immediate results.
Wow. Yeah.
So you're saying but what if everybody heals different? So maybe somebody will feel better tomorrow because everybody has a different built way they're receiving the stimulation and the energy opening up I just
We are
yeah,
looking for a response.
there some
Okay,
kind of
and
response.
regarding pain, mostly we can um, we can have a amazing improvement of between 70%, can be even 90, sometimes 100% of relief, but it doesn't mean that the problem is healed.
Yeah.
Okay, the healing process, sometimes we have to run for long distances. Okay, sometimes we can see the miracle, of course, but sometimes it is, Professor Park used to say that the way to heal from chronic ailments is by change. The first step is the change of the consciousness.
You see.
Okay, he used
Exactly.
to address it a lot. We have to
Yeah.
change the consciousness. Otherwise, we cannot change the reality. It's very important. Okay, and what we have in Sujok at the beginning, it's only to give us some kind of motivation to go that way, to show us it is possible. It's not a dream. Okay, see, try for yourself and you will see the pain is gone. Maybe tomorrow it will come again, but then you are already prepared, because some change already occurred even in our
Thoughts.
understanding.
Yeah.
Wow, it's
Yeah.
fascinating.
Tova, would you mind writing the name of that book for the audience on the side?
Is
What
it
was
written in English?
Yes, of
The
course.
doc?
Just a
Yes.
second. I will look if I
Yeah,
have it here
go.
in the office. Just a second. I will
Okay. All right.
try to find
It's
Okay.
not
find
the
it. Just
doctor.
a
It's not
second.
the doctor within. He said, "Be your own
No.
doctor. Be your own
Yeah.
doctor."
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure, but I just thought for
Yeah.
future reference for people watching that they'll have an idea that it's accessible to everyone.
Eastern medicine is so person oriented, so like conscious. It reminds me of IT, ISTDP. It just reminds me of that because it's so about
it's
the
all
person's mind and
interconnected.
body.
Yeah. And you see that whole change of consciousness, like it's not about, it's about that energetic level in your body, like this
Yeah.
sort of vibrational level that we've all got.
Yeah.
And he's accessing that
Yeah.
which is another pathway. I mean, the lymphatic system wasn't very well explained once upon a time. In our own time, the lymphatic system wasn't really understood properly as it is now. So there's always more room for learning and understanding.
Exactly.
Hello.
Hi.
So yeah, I went to the library. So it was. I told you he wrote about 300 books. So I had to choose few. Okay, so this
Be
is one.
your
Let's see, how do I do it?
Sujok.
Doctor.
Yeah, be your
Sujok.
own Sujok doctor.
Wow.
Okay, this is
Yeah. By
your own
Professor Park. What's his first name?
Yes, Park Jae-woo.
Park J. Wood.
Yes,
Park
and
is his
another
last
one,
name? Park J.
Jae-woo.
Wood. Park
Jae-woo.
Yes.
J.
Another one is Sujok for everybody.
Yeah.
There are so many. And there is
Amazing.
one, it's called Sujok Nail Therapy because we can treat the body also through the nails. It's very interesting.
Wow.
Through the what? Through the nails.
Nails, finger,
Nails.
the nails. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's fascinating also.
That is, that's sort of beyond belief, to say
It
the
helps.
least.
It works. It's amazing because each and every of our nails has some kind of correspondence on it, usually to the brain. Usually to the brain, and then through the brain we can control everything in the body.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that's our computer system, isn't it? So I mean, fair enough. Yeah.
Where did he learn this from? Like, he's a messenger, so where did it originally come from?
Well, originally he started by looking at the hand and then said, why does this hand look like that? Why doesn't it look like this or that or this? So why it has to look like this? And then he found so many things so many points of resemblance between the human body and the hand. So many. It cannot be a coincidence. His way was, after that, he went and learned Chinese medicine and wrote articles and did some research, especially about the emotional states. He brought some development into the Chinese medicine in Korea. But then he started to paint to make a lot of figures of human body on the hands.
On the hand.
I told you about 300 different, amazing, very interesting pictures, and they all exist simultaneously on our hand, which means that our hand is like a book. Okay, we have pages in the book, for example. Okay, so also here, you know that no one asks, how can it be that on the smartphone, when I press here, it is something like this, and when I do like this, why does it change? How can it be? So it is same on the hand. One time I can approach the heart, another time I can approach my spleen. Okay, another time it could be part of my teeth.
Okay, so are you saying that the same pressure point is for different areas of the body as well?
It can be. It's like a Stargate. But the thing is that the body, our body can tell us what is open now. Okay, because if everything can be everything, we're very confused. but not everything is active on the same time. Okay,
That's
not
what I
every
mean. Yeah, same
correspondence
point,
point.
but a different area.
And
You
the
know,
yeah,
I haven't asked you this before, but how is this related to the unconscious? Is that a
Well,
fair enough question? Because it's an important question.
actually, um, our unconscious
Uh-huh.
is connected to our energetic field.
That's right. Yeah, that's why I ask. Yeah.
Okay, so even if I'm not aware of things that happen in my body or in my mind, like repressed emotions,
Mm-hmm.
for example, if I don't express my anger, okay, because it is not logical, and because I'm the head of the Israeli organization and the head of research, and I teach meditation, so I need to be dignified and
always,
whatever.
always calm, always calm.
So Zohar never is angry. Okay, he only smiles. Of course, life is so beautiful, he only smiles. Okay, and then my liver, for example, starts to be stagnated. Okay, because the anger is not coming out. I'm not, I do not acknowledge it, but it is in my subconscious or underconscious, because some things make me angry, okay? Especially things I cannot control. It is natural process. When we cannot control something, we become a gorilla, okay? We want to do something. Of course, it is natural. But if I'm not aware of this process, the energy is still getting stuck. Okay, and then when I will look for correspondence points of the liver, for example, I can find treasures. Okay.
And
And
it
then
will
when I
be tender.
stare,
It will be tender and painful on your hand.
yes,
So,
it will be
so
very
you can say to
sensitive.
somebody, your spleen is expressing some sensitivity, and you might be feeling sad, and they'll be like, "Wow, you're able to find the tender
Yes.
points, know the meridian, like with acupuncture. Wow."
Yes, so I can find a tender point. Then I can ask the patient, what's going on? How are your emotions? Do you express? What do you think about anxiety? Okay, usually people in Israel, people are very well aware of their emotions, so they speak about them freely. But in some other places around the world, it is not, let's say, it is culture wise. In some cultures, you are not supposed to, if you say that you are sad, it means that you do not believe in the gods, for example. Okay, so people will never say that they said, but I can feel you. You sit in front of someone and you feel so sad you want to die immediately. Now, kill me now. But he said, no, no, I'm not sad. I never said. Okay, but
But you can
then you
feel the
can find
vibes of
those
it.
tender.
Yeah.
You can find the tender points. You can help him relieve. Okay, because when you open some energy block, so naturally things comes up. Emotion usually rise up. It can be all sorts of emotion, and in Sujok we welcome all emotions, because all the emotions are a way to express energy and to change energy between the human
Mm,
body and the universe. So
wow.
everything is is accepted. Okay, nothing is personal. Okay, and we need to feel each and every emotion properly. Otherwise, it is suppressed, and then it will make some stagnation with some organ or some kind of tissue in the body or some kind of functional system can be damaged if I repress my emotion.
And
Okay,
I'd
if I
like to
say
say, in light of the work that Rose and I do, um, and the light of the human being, to talk about emotions is one thing, but to be able to know what you're feeling and to be able to be compassionate and accepting is another thing. So Israelis are very expressive as a culture, and in touch with themselves, but doesn't mean they're always connected
Of
to
course.
what they're feeling, because there
Of
is
course, they can.
layers on, we're complicated people,
They will
and so,
speak. They can speak, but they not always they want to
Mm-hmm.
feel
exactly.
it properly, to be
Yeah.
connected, and to say I'm sad. Okay, it's yes, I
Yeah.
completely agree. It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's
Could you
difficult.
now, after your dog healing, I love that story. It was so amazing.
And
Um,
again, you didn't make the dog feel guilty about being
Yes,
like,
I.
the person, the human being would have had a lot of guilt. Like, it's interesting about the consciousness. This is where
I
we
think
live
that's why
with
she
human
she
beings.
she healed so quickly because she doesn't have all this,
defenses. Yeah.
sophisticated way of thought of, is it working? It's not. Is it placebo? She didn't ask herself.
I
She
want to
just
please my
wiggling.
owner and not pee again, but it keeps coming out.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And yes, and no one blamed her for anything. And even if I was to blame, she wouldn't understand it anyway. She would just
Yeah. Do you want to bring up the hand and the foot so that
Yeah,
the audience can actually see what
here.
you're talking about? Because Zohar's got some really
okay. So we can see here a map. We call it the standard correspondence system. And we can see here a hand and foot. Usually we use in Sujok, we use the hand. People of you who know reflexology, you probably know some other maps, but many, many maps exist. So don't worry, all is true. Everything that works is true. Okay, this is our rule of the thumb. Okay, and basically by using these maps, we can find correspondence points to each and every organ in the body, and then we can use it both for diagnostics, but mostly for treatment, because we don't always know what is the problem, but we can give some stimulation to the body, and the body start to utilize its own um, autoregulatory mechanisms, which means mechanisms that are used in order to keep the body healthy. We have thousands of these in our body. This is why we are here. We breathe, we speak, we keep the level of the blood pressure and the oxygen in the blood. Okay, our immune response, everything is all the time monitored and is well monitored, and everything is in a situation that is called homeostasis. Everything is in real balance. And in times of disease, things are getting out of balance, and this is the time for us to give some stimulation to the body to remind him to take care of the areas that are neglected, what to do. We're busy in so many different things that sometimes some areas are neglected and getting less
yeah.
attention by the body's own system. And by Sujok, we give the stimulation in order to
It's
remind
it's
the
like
body to
rebooting the
treat itself.
computer.
Yes, it's very similar to computers. It just,
It
yes,
is. This Sujok is, I as you were speaking to me earlier on, I realized that a parent holds a child's hand, and as you were explaining to me, I thought how you hold a child's hand. It actually the thumb goes onto the other thumb. It goes onto the heart area, and I thought how incredible it is that we actually intuitively do this, but we don't know. Can you sort of
yes, actually,
your
it's amazing. If you look at
yes,
that diagram, you can see that at the base of the thumb,
yes,
but
it's a
if we
heart,
go,
yeah.
this is the head, we go down, this is the throat, we go down, this will be the heart. Okay, and
Mm,
all of you, you can find the heart. The heart is very tender. Okay, heart is not only the heart that is the load of the blood and the blood vessels, but heart is also some kind of emotional
Mm.
area of the body.
Yeah,
Okay, we
exactly.
feel, when you're sad, or when you're anxious, you can feel some kind of pressure in that area. So
Mm.
massaging this area can be very helpful for many things, for many
Mm.
things. And basically, when we start Sujok treatment, we open this area by pressure a little bit, just opening. It is very relieving. It's very good for to treat stressful situations, but it can be very helpful also to treat fatigue because it is the heart. So when you pump it, you are like doing massage to the heart, but this is
Wow.
energetically, okay?
Yeah.
But really, if, for example, there is also Su-Jok for emergency conditions, and it's I was involved few different times in resuscitation and doing first aid to emergency when people passed out and lost consciousness. And actually, this area is very, very useful in order to stimulate and to bring consciousness back to people who lose
Wow.
it.
Yeah. You know,
Just try it.
yeah, when I was talking to you earlier on, um, because I've worked in palliative care often, and I was saying to you how often once a patient's settled, I'll get a family member to hold the person's hand, and I thought again, it's sort of like a heart massage, isn't it?
Yes, it's
Yes,
amazing. It's very accurate. Just holding the hand is
yes,
like holding the whole body.
yes. And as they're going, as they're leaving their body, as their soul is separating, or however you want to interpret it, their heart is open. And, you know, like it gives me goosebumps now when I think about it, because it's a sort of an intuitive thing that you do. And yet it's a freeing up for the person. So imagine how incredible it is for someone who's in chronic pain to be able to just hold their own hands and just do that massage. You know, like the pain could be in their back or their hip, couldn't it? Or a headache, even maybe. And doing that hand massage there to the heart, that would that make a difference? It would, wouldn't it?
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
First of all, when I recommend everybody to do his own massage of the hands.
Mm.
But when we want to treat, for example, in chronic pain, the pain is not alone. Okay, there is also the mind aspects. Okay, the mind aspects, because when I feeling pain for long time and the pain is not going away, okay, there must be some emotion that is involved already, even if there was never any emotion before. Now for sure there is emotion, and there is something that I think about. Okay,
Mm.
so, and in this condition, usually we in Sujok we are treating this condition like the mind is hypnotized. Okay, there is some kind, in Sujok physics, there is some kind of a force that make everything stay the same. Okay, we call it a homo force. Very interesting. But anyway, without doing another lecture now, uh, the patient is now hypnotized. Okay, now you are hypnotized. Okay, for example, our viewers, if someone have chronic pain, you are hypnotized. Okay, so what I'm asking you, okay, is just do something very simple. It's like a small research. Okay, very mini research. Just make some scale. For example, if I have a back problem, and I have, okay, I have few herniated discs and I'm feeling pain. In order to treat the pain now, okay, in the present, I need to be here. So I ask, in order not to be hypnotized, how much am I paining now? What is the pain level? Okay, from 0 to 10, 10 is unbearable, 0 is nothing. Okay, so let's say I'm suffering 7. Good starting point. Now I know that it is 7. This is very important. In order to break the mind-body connection, we need to be in the present. Okay, now 7. Now I start the stimulation by Sujok. Okay, I'm going. For example, I have 2 herniated discs. One is in the upper back. The second one is the lower back. Because lower back is very popular all over the world. So I want to show you. You see, these are the legs in Su-Jok basic correspondence. This is the buttocks, these two. And if these are the legs and they are connected to the body, so this will be the lower back. I'm just taking zoom out in order that you can see my fingers. So this is area that corresponds to my lower back. So I said I have pain levels of 7. Now I can do stimulation. Where am I? Okay. So I can do that. I'm doing stimulation now, let's say 2-3 minutes. Okay. You are speaking with your friend, you're watching the TV, you are listening to our lecture, and you're doing massage.
Wow.
Okay. I won't bore you now, but let's say I did it for 2-3 minutes. Now I can ask my back, how much does it pain now? Okay. And usually you will see improvement immediate. And this is the most important part of breaking apart the mind-body connection, because when you can see relief, then something is open. Okay, and we have to ask ourselves, because if I don't do this scaling, if I don't measure, my mind will tell, it is 10, nothing helps. Okay, you want
I
to,
see.
you
Reflection.
and you,
So you're creating a reflective capacity. Okay, I see now. Yes.
Or helping the person be mindful. Would that be this? Like the person's being mindful and being in the moment, like you said, the reflection.
I want the patient to be here now and to estimate the pain levels before he start the treatment. This is very important. Otherwise, my mind can trick me. Okay, it can trick me and keep me with past memories of pain levels that have been like that for, let's say, 10
A
years,
long
8
time.
years.
Yeah.
Okay, and then he said, but I want to check now to be in the present. Okay, and then we can open and then continue with the treatment. And
It's
of
one of the
course,
methods that Rose and I use, is just helping people be, because their mind will start to do and ruminate. And then this is very interesting. You're saying it in your language, but it's the exact same thing.
yes,
Beautiful.
yes,
I wanted to
rumination is a problem.
I wanted to show Inga's comment. If I
Yeah.
push
Okay.
certain spots on my foot, it helps my vulvodynia and groin pain, which is, I remember reflexology, you couldn't, if you were pregnant, you couldn't push certain points on your ankle, because God forbid you, I don't think, I mean, I guess it can happen, but it's a very strong point for the
It is
uterus.
yes, it is. It comes from the Chinese medicine when there is some
Moxie.
points
Yeah.
on the spleen meridian you're not allowed to during pregnancy, but the hand is completely safe for use. Also the
Oh,
foot,
that's great. But
yes, it's
Inga, this is
completely safe.
amazing, Inga.
Yeah.
Um,
What would you say for Inga here?
Sounds like she already did the treatment, no?
Yes. So could you explain to the rest of the audience
where in the
Yes,
what,
of
hand,
course.
where
where
she
in the
would,
hand could she have done that?
Well, she was using her foot, right?
yeah,
She was using her
So
foot. Yes.
let's see if I have here. No, I don't have a plastic model of a foot here.
Okay.
If I bring up my foot, it will be a bit
yeah,
embarrassing.
yeah.
Anyway, so
Show
if
us
we
on the
want
hand.
to, so I will show the hand. So using the hand, we can find the groin area around here. Okay, sorry.
I imagine it
It's
would
a-
be tender on her, right?
yes, it can be tender, but actually in a different map, it can be also here. Let's say both of these are legs.
Yeah.
Okay, so the area of the pelvis will be here. Okay, area of the pelvis.
Okay.
And
Yes. Like it's in
yes,
alignment. Yes.
so this can be the area of the pelvic floor. Okay, so for example, there's so many different problems that can be in that area. And I think that for me, what is the most interesting or fascinating thing about Sujok that doesn't exist in traditional reflexology or reflexotherapy is the use of seeds.
Mm.
Because mostly when I treat myself, unless it is really emergency and I need to do some massage because I am paining, so I use seeds. Good picture. So in order to use seeds,
I see beans. I see kidney beans.
yes. And guess what
Black
are the
pepper.
kidney beans good for?
Kidneys.
Yes, exactly. Because they look
They-
like a kidney, and
Yeah.
there is some, the law of similarity, which means things that looks the same can resonance together. There is so,
Wow.
but for example, we can use also buckwheat seeds. We can use black pepper seeds, and actually our body respond to the energy
Of the
that
seed.
is, yes, in each seed has, it's like a battery of energy of life. When you
It's
think of
true.
it,
It's like a stem cell, isn't it?
yes,
Yeah.
when you take this seed and you put it in the ground, little bit of water and some sun, okay, and it can become even a tree. It is amazing. That means that it has a lot of energy um, in very packed, let's say, very packed way. Okay,
Yeah.
and when I take this small battery of nature and I put it on the correspondence point that I found. For example, let's go back to Joya, but only in order to explain how people can help the urinary bladder. Okay, so many different things with the bladder, but sometimes there is urinary incontinence, sometimes there is inflammation, okay, some chronic inflammation, sometimes there is some kind of infection, sometimes there is inflammation, but there is no infection. So there are many things with this bladder. And again, I can look for the sensitive point, okay? And
Mm-hmm.
the the process of looking for the correspondence point is very important because you can also only put the tape and the seeds, but first of all, you have to knock. Okay, first of all, you have to knock. You have to make the brain realize that now you are asking uh, him or it to treat itself. Okay, this is a hand. I'm doing with the hand a lot of things, and I want to utilize the hand now for treatment. So first of all, you have to knock. So I'm looking for tender point. And if most of you don't have like this, okay, so it's okay. You can take some pen, for example, that is not sharp, or you can take even a chopstick. Okay, chopstick
Ah,
is very good, yes. And
Mm-hmm.
then you are looking for a tender point. Found it?
Yes. And then what
Okay,
happens?
it is more sensitive than other points. More sensitive than other points. Then I take few buckwheat seeds, for example. Where is the camera here?
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see.
We see it. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes. Yes.
and then I tape it. I put it on the correspondence area of the bladder. And now
Wow.
stimulation already started. It is very gentle, which means people who are sensitive will feel some kind of something is happening. Some people really cannot tolerate it, but some enjoy it. Most people don't feel anything. But after 2, 3 hours, usually there is effect. Okay? When I demonstrate, because I do it, I think for at least 16 years. So I'm looking for immediate effect because I know how to find it. But when people that are not experienced are using, usually we tell them just put it overnight, go to sleep, okay, in the morning, see how do you feel. And by this method, we can treat everything. We can treat toothache, we can treat some condensation or some when I have a blocked
Inflammation.
nose,
Digestion.
feeling a little bit sick. Okay, so but everything that happens in the body, I can give some stimulation in order to get
Wow.
some miracle done during my sleep. When I sleep, okay, I want to use the time properly. So when I sleep, I give some homework.
Okay, so Inga could actually do something like that, and she wouldn't need
Yes,
to put pressure on her foot anymore. It would
yes,
do.
yes.
Yeah.
Inga, you can just tape the seeds. Okay, just look for the most sensitive point or
In that
points,
area.
and then find some seed. Buckwheat is very good. Also, some kind of lentil. We are looking for seeds that are alive. Okay, which means that if you put them with some water, they will start to sprout.
Wow.
Okay, that means that they are alive, because some seeds are very old and they are tired, and so better use fresh seeds. Seed can be
You know,
also 10 years old and still fresh.
the
They have this
skin, of course,
capability.
the skin, of course, is the largest organ of the body. And so not only is the pressure at night, when you're sleeping, but there's absorption of energy. Like you said, there's something else going on there. And then there's my like hope and belief that this is going to work. So there's that. And there's my belief in you and our relationship in this healing. It's just, and you're really allowing the person to really participate in their healing in a way that is very different. It's very beautiful.
It is amazing
Yeah.
because people's intention is very important. But what is amazing, that you don't have to believe in it. I don't expect
I
anyone to
don't know
believe,
about
because
that. I don't know about that.
I didn't believe in it. I didn't. I didn't. I just try. I just ask. I also ask people, just try and let me.
What if
If you
their husband brought them to the office and they didn't want to come? I don't want to be here. I'm doing it because my husband brought me.
Yes, please show me the symptom. What is hurting? Shoulder, back, and let me
But I don't
demonstrate
believe in
it.
you. I think it's witchcraft. I don't believe in it. So how's it going to work?
If you want help, like if you are suffering, I will be glad to show you some way. I didn't
Okay.
believe it either. But
No, I
if you
know.
don't want help, so I cannot help you anyway.
No, I have a colleague who's doing homeopathy, and I asked her the same question. She goes, "Well, we've done it on horses and animals." So there is something. Also,
Yes,
if the person is beginning to feel different, if again, I'm open. It's not like a rule of thumb, but like it seems like people have, it's nice when they're excited and there's adrenaline and there's hope and there's belief and there's. But what do you think of this, Rose? That somebody could just be like, "Well, I don't really believe in it, but go ahead and try."
No, it's more about curiosity. If a person's open and they're curious, they'll go there, even if they don't believe it. It's
Wow.
about curiosity. And as Zohar saw when he was doing his science experiments, that science isn't even consistent. He was then curious as to why that was, that each type of neuron has a different reaction depending on the plate or whatever it is that it's on, or however. The scientists are doing this. The scientists are doing all their work and they've suspended belief in a way, and they've considered that the outcome is more important than the system somehow, and they're more into making sure that the correct outcome is the same. Whereas Zohar has taken it a step further and says, well, science isn't really as accurate as we, the general public, are told. And he's gone that other step. So then for when he actually does this therapy on patients, the patient's curiosity needs to be opened, and that's where they get the healing. And that obviously allows the energetic flow or whatever it is that we don't know about. But again, earlier on, you just said that we didn't have the insights that we have now about medicine. And, while you were looking for the book, I was thinking about our lymphatic system. And originally, we didn't know a great deal about that. We knew it was there, but we didn't know how the system worked because we were looking at cadaver. How do you say it? Dead body.
Cadavers.
Yeah. So now, because we can do fMRIs and things, we can see emotions, we can see MRIs, we can see the living body working. So now we've got a very deep understanding. But there's another space that you've explored and opened up. And there isn't a scientific background now to lift that up into a science field, is there? The diagnostic tool of how it works, or what do you call it? As a scientist, what would you call it? The proof. How do you describe that?
In science, they like mechanism.
Okay, so it's the mechanism that hasn't been shown yet. It doesn't mean it's not there, but it hasn't been shown. So somehow the mechanism is involved with the brain, isn't it? And that insight, or that.
Yes, actually,
this
is already explored, and it is known now that the effect is mediated by the brain, by our nervous system, and by our hormonal system, endocrine system.
Okay. Well, we don't talk about that very often, do we? So our endocrine system, and that, of course, is the pituitary sets that off, doesn't it? So we should be really looking at the pituitary. Where's the pituitary on the hand? The thumb. Oh, okay.
Actually, we can treat everything by the pituitary. Pituitary and
that's
the
what I'm thinking.
hypothalamus.
Yeah.
Yes, they're very.
How about the thyroid? The thyroid is a very important gland, yeah?
Actually, all our glands are very important. But basically, the pituitary, which is the mother of all endocrine.
Yes, well, that's, yeah.
We can
so
find
they're
it
in the
here.
middle of the thumb, yeah.
It is above the middle. The middle will be our nose, and this is just, let's say, 1/3
up
from the top. Yeah, 1/3. And then it's amazing because this area of the pituitary and the hypothalamus is responsible for everything.
That's right.
Everything. Yeah. Okay. It is very close to the limbic system. So your emotional memory, your endocrine balance, sleep and wake cycle, pain, okay, temperature, everything is hormonal. Okay, and many times there is some kind of imbalance or bug in the system, and then you can open it. You can open it up.
Incredible. What about people with headaches when we're looking at the thumb? Because a lot of our viewers have constant headaches. And when something emotional comes up or some fear, they go to a headache instead. So where would they go? Where would they?
So basically we start by the head, but then we go down because usually the head is not by itself. Okay, it comes from somewhere. It's not only headache. Usually there are more things that are involved. But basically we can start with the head. So let's say that, okay, let's choose. Usually when we want to find ourselves, so we locate the nose. Okay, the nose is in the
middle?
In the middle.
Okay.
Okay, and then proportionate to my face.
Okay,
so below the nose I can find the mouth. Above the nose, I can find the eyes.
Uh-huh.
Okay, here, this one, smiling.
Oh,
Okay, and
okay.
now I want to address the headache.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so for example, if my headache is in the frontal lobe, okay, so this will be the area,
Mm-hmm.
and I can massage it.
Ah.
Okay, now if my headache comes from the back
Oh,
of my
wow.
head or the back of my neck, what is
Oh,
many
okay.
times is related to stress.
Well,
Okay,
it
so I
is.
have to look for the areas here on the back of my head. Okay,
Wow.
just okay.
Well, and put pressure there.
Position. Okay, and then
Mm.
of course I have to go to the neck. And here I can find, wow, so many blocked tender spots because
Oh,
this area,
it's tight.
okay,
Yeah.
yes, especially if I take on my shoulders a lot of
Of
weight.
burden. Yeah.
Okay,
Emotional
yes,
burden.
yes, the burden of life. Okay, so
Mm.
I can even go down here to look for places,
Okay.
but
So
you
down
can do it.
within the hand
Yes,
down
yes,
here.
exactly. And people at home, you can do like this with your thumb. Okay,
Ah,
on the base of the just below, you see this joint? Okay, so
yes.
this is C7, C7 cervical
Yeah.
vertebra number 7, and below it we start with T1. Okay, so just you can go and just massage over there, just like
Mm.
between your both of your scapula. It is, you will find a tender spot, and then it is very, very useful to relieve stress
Oh,
and headache related to stress.
Now I can see the
uh-huh.
hand being a much greater object, a greater limb, because it's just more hand. The foot, at some point, you're limited with
Yes,
the foot. I can see the hand, there's a lot more surface space. So you
yes,
can
there
get
is more
more.
surface, more details.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm. Mm.
I never would have thought that.
Yeah.
It was a mutual friend. She studies with you, Hadassah Fuchs. She told
Ah,
me this.
yes, of course.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Mm.
She I
Oh,
she I met her and she started taking my hand and I'm thinking, what is this? It was years ago in Jerusalem. I was like, oh my God, and what goes around comes around, and here I am. Amazing. It's amazing. And
yes.
it's very scientific and very rational,
It is also intuitive.
intuitive, of course.
Well,
To
they
have
should really go together, I suppose, shouldn't they?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, kids, when we teach kids from young age, when we treat them, so some of my patients' kids, they are getting also relieved by the Sujok therapy. And then when something is wrong, they ask their parents to do Sujok for them or to go to a treatment because for them it is better, okay, and easier and less frightening than going to the proper medical system with the cold spaces and everything.
Yeah.
And they and say, "Mommy, why won't you just tape some seeds and let's see what happens?" And usually it works.
Yeah. Could I also mention that I discovered that the Montessori method of teaching children is tactile. And when I went to a lecture about it, we learned that all the um, areas of the finger are all intimately, I would say, connected to the brain, so that not only is a Sujok out there in Korea, but it's actually operating all over the place, but we don't know because all the sciences and all the research are all in their own funnel, and none of them talk to one another. And I was so impressed when I found that Montessori model is about the hands and about the hands connecting to the brain and children learning. And now, of course, they're using that same model with patients with Alzheimer's, and they're using a Montessori model for the patient to be able to become more tactile again, and then they're able to interact better. So it's everywhere, but we just don't see it. And yes, it's just been fantastic. I wish there'd been more people asking us questions, because
people
we have
watch it.
got this amazing doctor on here that that can start the healing journey inside ourselves.
Well, what I'll do is I'll put some of the pictures on our page, and if anyone has questions for Zohar, it's as the world starts to quote unquote normalize. I mean, it's it's 3 o'clock in America. It's 8 o'clock it's 10 o'clock here. So various times we have various groups of people. This is our 80th show. I counted today.
Wow. 80th. Wow.
Our 80th show. Rose and I started this this March. It'll be 2 years. We started it in response to Corona, to help people with anxiety, and we've been able to really showcase so many amazing ways, and it's all connected. Like Dr. Hanskin will talk about inflammation, and you're saying, well, we can help inflammation. And Rose and I will say, well, then if you're not so anxious, and if you accept your thoughts, then you'll create less inflammation. So everything we're saying is a insight. And you can do one. You can choose which one you like. Some people will like to journal. Some people will like to meditate, and I think when I was questioning and doing the devil's advocate with you about the belief, I think the relationship of a person being with a therapist is very important, whether they want to be there or not. There's some sense of like somebody cares about me. And when there's this attention on our body, like even if I'm not thinking about my hand, if I'm pressing a point, the hand feels it. I mean, the body has an ability to respond and react without even my knowing. Like the body, the scientists have discovered that the body is the subconscious.
Exactly.
So it's happening without my thinking. It's like smarter than my thinking. It's smarter than my brain. So it's been so incredible for Rose and I to like be witness to each show. And we don't talk a lot about ourselves, but it's been amazing for Rose and I. And I met Zohar through the TMS Roundtable Israel, and it was it was popular. And I think that, would you say that in Europe and Israel and the Middle Eastern countries, it's more popular than in America? What's your sense about like the regards to the actual
Sujok?
Yeah.
Well, Sujok Therapy is more, let's say, popular or known in the Eastern countries, in India, in Russia, in Romania, Bulgaria. We have centers, and less in the Western world, Western Europe, little bit in France, little bit in Italy. But it is good time to start, because we are all connected. And actually, if anybody that see us now wants to try, I usually do it in Hebrew, but we can do it also in English, no problem. I sometimes I make some kind of session, and it's online. Okay, it's free of charge. And people are coming and say, how can I treat something? And I demonstrate. Usually we like to do that together, because then people that I do not know them at all, they're just trying. And online, live, you can see the response. You can see the response in their bodies, on their face. Wow. And it's really amazing. It's very empowering for everybody to see how things are working.
Can we put up your website? How would people get in touch with you?
Yeah. How can they get in touch with you?
Well, we can through. Do you have my Facebook page?
I can write something down. I mean, I'll put the Facebook page on the page,
Yes.
but right now I can write something on the feed. Do you have a website?
Yes, I can. Should I write or I can?
No,
Put
Hova's the
www.
only one that can write on. Yeah.
So Sojok.
So the website
Two.
is israelsujok.com.
Okay, yeah, Israel.
All one word.
Jok.
Sujok.
Sujok. Sujuk.
Sujok.
O for
Okay.
Oliver.
And they can also, a lot of people sometimes ask questions after the show, and Rose or I will refer to you. And you are Dr. Zohar. I love the name Zohar. What does it mean in Hebrew?
Glimmer.
Glimmer.
Oh,
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
wow,
And
well named, aren't you? A glimmer of light, hey?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it is.
Yeah. To the medical profession.
Yes,
yeah,
I don't have a choice. I have to do what I'm doing.
That's
yeah,
right. You're destined.
yeah, beautiful. So thank you so
Zohar,
much. We'll find reason.
Hova's
In
frozen.
a week or two. Oh, we got to bring Zohar back for this. So we will definitely see you again.
Of
Thrilled
course, I will
have
be.
you.
It's been an honor for me, and
Thank
I
you,
like
Zohar.
being on your show. And looks like we have so many things, amazing things to discuss that we share them, just different
Yeah.
points of view, but it's all talking about the same stuff, the same things. So it's amazing.
I imagine you've helped people get pregnant through these points and help people, like, I imagine, like, everything. And you were talking about some diabetes people get really not
Yes,
having to take
actually,
their insulin, which is amazing.
diabetes is one of the first initiative that I took because I'm also the head of the International Department of Research for Sujok. And we did some kind of experiment. It is a pilot study that was going on for 3 years, but we took diabetes because glucose, it's something that you can measure with number and glucometer, okay, in the blood. Okay, it's not subjective. So we started with that, and we got wonderful results, and really people can use it for themselves, and it's amazing.
Is there a paper on it?
Not yet, because there
Okay.
was some. Yeah, it's
I'd
not
like
yet published in a paper,
Okay.
but
When you
we have all
publish
the
it,
data.
give it to us and we'll put it on our website as well.
Yes, it is it is nice,
Yeah.
very,
Fantastic.
very nice. Wow.
Well, good night to you beautiful two people
Yeah.
there in Israel.
Good morning in Australia.
Yes, I'm starting my day. And it's lovely. It's been a beautiful session. And hopefully we put this on YouTube, so it's always there for people to look at later. Yeah.
And we'll add some of the
Okay,
pictures.
great.
All right, wonderful.
So
All the
thank you
best.
very much.
Okay.
God bless
Bye.
you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.